Okay, fingers crossed that this is bright enough and, you know, loud enough, but I know me, and if I don't do this video now, it's not gonna get done, right? So, anywho, my name's Elle, formerly known as Ellecommawoods, and basically this video is gonna talk about how I got demoted on my name. Like, just joking, kinda. So, no, this video is going to be talking about basically why I ended up having to rebrand my legal themed jewelry, clothing, and accessory brand and my social media presence. And basically it's gonna talk about the power of pivoting and like how sometimes we're super resistant to change, but the change ends up being like the best thing for us. Keep on watching, and yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Here's the tea. Welcome or welcome back. My name's Elle. I go by the Counselle, but I'm formerly known as Ellecommawoods, and basically this video is going to be talking about how I ended up rebranding, like what led me to rebrand, and like the lessons that I've learned from having to rebrand. So yeah, bear with me. I have not filmed a video in such a long time, so yeah, bear with me. But anywho, so to make a very long story short, as I said earlier, I used to go by Ellecommawoods, but all jokes aside, I really got deboed on my name. So we're going to take it back. So I want to say in undergrad, either my sophomore or junior year of undergrad. So I graduated undergrad in 2013. So this was like 2011-ish. I changed my Instagram name and pretty much all of my social media handles, but I have the biggest presence on Instagram. So that's what we're mainly going to be focusing on. So I started going by Ellecommawoods in like 2011, 2012-ish. And it kind of sort of started out as like a joke or like an homage, but then it kind of like morphed into a life of its own. So everyone like used to joke with me because I always knew I was going to law school. Even in undergrad, like I had my heart set on becoming like a crim defense attorney, and clearly that ain't happened. So I had my heart set on being a criminal defense attorney or a prosecutor when I first went into undergrad. And so like that's all I would talk about. Like, I'm going to law school, I'm going to law school, I'm going to be a lawyer, blah blah blah. So my full first name is Chantel. Obviously L's in there. So people used to joke and call me like the Black Elle Woods or like the future Elle Woods. So I'm like, maybe that could be like a cute Instagram handle or whatever. And so I just so happened to like be watching Legally Blonde, and the scene where Elle is checking into her first day at Harvard and she's like, "What's comma Elle?" Like giving them her name. I'm like, you know what? This could be cute. So let's pay a tribute to like my favorite like legal movie. So instead of Woods comma Elle, I just put Elle comma Woods, but like actually spelled out the word comma, right? So again, this was way back in like 2011-ish. Fast forward to 2019. I was on the hunt for like some really cute legal theme like jewelry or like accessories, and I searched like all through Etsy, social media, like a bunch of different places. So I was on the hunt and I'm like this shit is tacky. A lot of the stuff that I found like all looked the same, or it looked very generic, it looked very tacky. And I'm like, instead of trying to like find the items that I'm looking for, why don't I just create them? And so I'm like, all right, boom, bet. I'm gonna start a legal themed jewelry line. But at the time, I didn't know what to call it. So again, I had already been going by Ellecommawoods since 2010, 2011-ish, right? So I'm like, you know what? For right now, it could just be called Shop Ellecommawoods. And, you know, once I think of something else, it is what it is, right? So at that point, I only had around like 3,500 followers. I launched Shop Ellecommawoods in November 2019. And then boom, the, you know, quarantine lockdowns happened. So at that point, I was finishing up my LLM, which if you're not a person in law, that's a master of laws. So it's basically like picking a major in undergrad, but for law. So mine was general studies with a concentration in fashion, art, media, and entertainment law, because I definitely realized crim law was not the place for me. I was not going to be anybody's criminal defense attorney. I was not going to be anybody's prosecutor. That's not a thing for me. Long story. We'll get into that another day. At that point, I was finishing my LLM and, you know, finishing it during quarantine. And so I found the vendor, like I did some, you know, background research. I found the vendor, I got some samples, and I was able to create, you know, a few pieces of jewelry. And I was able to find like some really cute, like necklaces that were like not like anything that I had been seeing on like Etsy or on other people's Instagram shops or pages, or just in general on people's websites. So Shop Ellecommawoods became a thing. We eventually branched off into coffee mugs, t-shirts, then sweatsuits, stationery, like all of these different expansions between 2020 and 2022. So we're gonna jump back a little bit to 2021. Since I had been going by Ellecommawoods for so long, I'm like, you know what? I should trademark Ellecommawoods. I'm not sure if I'm gonna rename the store yet, so let me just try to secure it for my social media presence. Now, granted, I don't have like the biggest social media presence, but like this isn't like, you know, tiny, right? So I filed the trademark application, and granted, I wasn't paying attention too well. Like that was what it was. So I filed that back in like summer 2021. It got an office action, like a denial office action, because of the portion L. The trademark for L is owned by, and they have a trademark covering pretty much every class that you can think of, from business services, advertising services, blogging, to clothing, to marketing, like anything you can think of, that company has a lock on it, right? So I knew it was gonna kind of be like an uphill battle for me to get Ellecommawoods approved, but I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try anyway. So fast forward to summer 2020, which is when the response to that office action was due. Very long story short, something glitched as I was submitting my response, and so I missed the deadline, but I was still able to, hey, I can revive this, blah, 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 blah. Before I could do that though, I get an email, and I'm not not going to say the firm's name. I'm not even going to say like the company's name. You know, first of all, I don't want anybody coming back after me for anything. Let's start there. But I'm also not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna trash talk. I'm not gonna trash talk them, because at the end of the day, they're just attorneys doing their job, right? So I get an email, and it's basically a cease and desist saying that I'm infringing upon the Legally Blonde trademarks by me going by Ellecommawoods and me having shop Ellecommawoods. And basically, if I don't destroy all my merch, change all my social media handles, and, you know, change the store and blah, 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 they were going to sue the shit out of me. Apparently, they had been watching my social media for quite a few months. And by they, I mean the firm had been watching my social media for quite a few months, and they like had all types of screenshots of like my blog site, which was ellecommawoods.com. They had screenshots of shop Ellecommawoods. They had screenshots of my personal like Ellecommawoods Instagram personality. They had screenshots of shop Ellecommawoods Instagram page. Like, they were on me, right? So at first, I'm like, I don't give a shit about changing the store name, although I don't think that I should. Because number one, y'all don't own the word L. Somebody else owns it. Hence why I got the office action, right? But also, y'all don't have no trademark for L Woods. And you don't own the word comma. So like, why should I have to change my social media handles that I've worked to build up for the past few years? And I've been going by Ellecommawoods for a decade at this point. So like, I felt like, why should I change it? So I hired an attorney to respond to their little letter, and the attorney was saying exactly what I'm saying. Like, hey, so they don't own that. They don't own L. They don't own L Woods. They don't own shit. So she was willing to fight for me, and I appreciated that, because, you know, I had several consultations and where basically people were like, well, no, it's not even worth the fight, blah, blah, blah. You should just change because this is a big firm. This is a big media company. Like, just basically bow down and back down. And this attorney, I like really did appreciate the fact that she saw where I was coming from, and she's like, well, no, you can fight this. So let's try to fight it. And so I hired her. She responded on my behalf, and you know, it was quite a bit of back and forth. And then I ended up, I prayed about it, and I prayed about it. And like literally one day, like in the middle, I want to say, so I got their little cease and desist letter right after my birthday, so August 2022. By September 2022, after I had already hired the attorney, and you know, they were conversing back and forth, with the Legally Blonde folks attorneys, I prayed on it, I slept on it, and I'm like, God, listen, tell me what I'm supposed to do. Like, am I supposed to fight, or am I supposed to let it go? Like, I don't know what to do here, but all I know is, number one, I don't have unlimited money. Number two, I don't have the time, the mental capacity, or the energy to go up against a big ass media company. So like, what do I do? Do I fight for my social media handles, or do I let it go? And literally, I just kept praying on it. And one day it just came to me. It's just like, let it go. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna change it on my own. So fast forward, I ended up changing my social media handles to what it is now, the Counselle or Counselle. And I have to thank my friend Joni for that, because she was helping me brainstorm like different brand names and like basically encouraging me like, hey, like, listen, if you want to fight, I'm gonna support you, but if you don't, then I'm gonna help you rebrand and it's gonna be bigger and better. So yeah, I have to like really thank her for that, because I definitely appreciated that. So Joni and I were like bouncing names back and forth on each other, and then we landed on the Counselle. So it could still have my name, which is L, a portion of my name anyway. It could still have L, but it could be even better, and it could not be tied to, you know, any type of like movie character, even as an homage. So I'm like, you know what? I prayed on it again. That felt right. So I went straight ahead with it. I I rebranded. I had to start from like literally the bottom, like starting from scratch, getting it out the mud, right? So fast forward to October 2022. I speak with my attorney, and she's basically like, all right, well, number one, they decided that they're going to leave you alone because you rebranded on your own, and you know, there's really nothing for them to come for you about. Like, I included a disclaimer on my website before I even rebranded, and when I rebranded, that basically said, hey, Shop Ellecommawoods has nothing to do with Legally Blonde. Legally Blonde, the musical, the character Elwoods, like, we are separate. Like, literally, I'll insert my logo somewhere over here, my old logo anyway. And like, literally, the logo was me. Like, literally me in a pink suit with my tip the scales necklace, my like signature high bun that I was into at the time, and like me stepping on a pile of like law books. Like, the logo was me. No one was getting me, little black girl, confused with blonde hair, blue eyes, Elle Woods from the movie, right? But anywho, she's like, they decide, like, you know, they're gonna leave you alone, and they want you to sign a release. I told them you're not gonna sign it. And I said, you know what? Thanks, because I'm sure not. Because number one, I didn't do anything wrong. Number two, I had been going by Ellecommawoods for a decade at this point. Like, y'all really deboed me out my name. How crazy. Don't know where I left off, but pretty much I got deboed out my name. Like, like I said, I prayed on it before I decided to change. So like, let's back up. I'm like hopping all over the place. Hi, ADHD. So I had chatted with my friends, a bunch of my lawyer friends. I chatted with Bay's a lawyer. And like, although I could have kept fighting, since again, I had been going by Ellecommawoods for a decade at this point. When I prayed on it, it was kind of just like a release. It was like the universe was just letting me know it's okay. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to let this go. Whatever you're going to change to is going to be even bigger and even better than, you know, what you had already built. And when I say this inconvenience, this bullying, pretty much, this bullying, like all of this drama turned out to be the biggest blessing. A blessing that it would have come eventually, but like, I was so set on, no, I need to stay Ellecommawoods. I need to fight for this. When in reality, for me to grow, I needed this change. And I promise it would not have happened you know, at this time, I wouldn't be able to like be building a bigger and better brand had I not been deboed on my name. So in many ways, I owe them a thanks, because it really taught me, like this whole situation really taught me the power of pivoting. And it really taught me to like just listen. It taught me that when you pray for something, you got to be prepared for whatever it is that you pray for to come. So I wanted my brand to grow. I wanted to expand my social media presence. I wanted to be able to like I want to like have a real spot in the legal world, but like in my own way. So this just gave me that opportunity, and it would not have happened right now had all of this taken place. So while let me tread lightly, while it was extremely inconvenient, while I definitely felt personally victimized by Regina George, while I definitely was bullied by a really large company and by a really big firm, it turned out to be the best thing for me. So, thanks. Since I basically went and like I rebranded on my own, I changed everything on my own. They had like a problem with the little disclaimer that I had put, so I took that down on my own. Like, I signed no releases, and there's like, since there was nothing for them to come for me for, yeah, they agreed to leave me alone, but they also refused to cut me a check to rebrand. So everything, every change, every single move, every aspect of this pivot has come out of my pocket, like me personally. From hiring the attorney to rebranding, new site, new platform, new blog site, everything has come out of my pocket. And funny thing is, I'm okay with that. When my attorney like told me, basically, when she's like, hey, so y'all gonna cut my client a check, and they were like, well, there's nothing for us to fight about, pretty much, and also we don't negotiate with infringers. Okay, that's fine, because I don't negotiate with bullies. Thank you to this firm. Thank you to this media company. If it wasn't for this push, I would not be where I am right now. My brand has grown. I've gotten so many more orders, so much more support just in this short amount of time, from September to December 2022. I've gotten more support, and like I've gotten like an influx of orders in this quarter. Like, this was truly a blessing in disguise. So I guess what I want to say pretty much is, don't be afraid of change. Don't be so resistant to change, because sometimes that change will end up being the very best thing for you. Like, when you pray for something, be prepared. Like, if God is trying to push you towards something, if God is trying to take you somewhere, but you're just still holding on to whatever it is, He gonna make you real uncomfortable with whatever that thing is that you're holding on to, until you realize it's time for you to, move on and trust that where you're moving on to is the right place, is the right next step. So yeah, that's how, that's the nice little tidy version. That's basically how I ended up having to rebrand, and how I went from Ellecommawoods to the Counselle. So yeah, sorry if this was like super long. Sorry, not sorry. But like, yeah, basically moral of the story is there is power in pivoting. There is a lot of value in picking your battles. Not every single thing, not every single fight is something that you need to take on. Not everything doesn't have to be a battle. Sometimes it's okay to back down, take a step back, and make a change. You're never going to grow if you are resistant to change. So that's definitely what this has taught me. And I am very strangely, like unexpectedly, pleasantly surprised and so grateful for this terrible experience. And later, I now have a much better brand. It's bigger, it's better. I'm bigger, I'm better. Like, so many things, so many doors have opened up, and like so many opportunities have come to me in the past few months, like more than the past few years. And like this whole debacle, this whole situation, it allowed me to take a step back and actually be able to receive and be ready for all of the things that are happening right now, and all of the things that are, gonna happen in 2023 and beyond. So yeah, I am very strangely grateful for this change, and you'll I'll be doing a lot more YouTube videos. I'm trying to get more comfortable. We'll see. That's a part of my pivot. That's a part of my goal. And yeah, stay tuned for what 2023 has in store for the Counselle and the Counselle collection. New drops are coming, like even better products are coming. So if you love the brand now, just know you are gonna love what we have coming up in 2023 and beyond. So thanks so much for watching, and yeah, let's chat. Like, tell me about a time that you had to pivot. Like, have you ever been bullied? Have you ever been deboed out of something? Like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. This has been the biggest blessing in disguise, and honestly, I wouldn't trade this situation for anything in the world. So yeah, it is what it is. Anywho, thank you guys for watching. My camera's about to die, so XOXO.